What's up, you guys? It's Renee. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm super excited because I have a huge life update, and that is that I moved to Colombia. Yes, I moved to Colombia, Medellin, Colombia to be specific, and I am finally sitting down to film this video to walk you through my thought process, how we got here, how I'm liking it so far, and just all the things. I wanted to shoot this video now. So I've been in Medellin, Colombia for about 8 days, but I won't be releasing this video until about a month after I've officially moved because I really just wanted to be able to take in the city and explore and really get a feel for where I am now living. But I will say, after a week living here, I absolutely love it. And I also wanted to make this video. It's actually going to be a series of videos because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to Colombia. I'll be the first to say that I was very nervous before I moved here because of all of the things I was reading and seeing online, but it couldn't have been further from the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things that I read about that I can see why people drew that conclusion or why people had these experiences, but I also think that there is a whole other side of Colombia that people do not get to see or even experience because of how many stories are shared that doesn't depict this country, specifically this city. Anyway, before I get into all of that, just want to say super excited. And if you are interested in why I moved from the US to Colombia to be a full-time digital nomad, just keep watching because I'm about to get into all of the things. Super excited. So first things first, let's talk about how I even decided to make this huge move. And if you are not new to my channel, you already know that I've been taking you all through my journey of living in New York before when I was a flight attendant, and then moving to Hawaii, and then building a business and figuring out how to build this dream life that I've had for such a long time. And I would say every single time I make these videos coming to you all about somewhere I've moved or just a life decision that I've made, I feel like I'm able to share more of my journey of what I'm learning. And after I moved from Hawaii, I moved back home to Philly. This was during the COVID. And then after that, I moved to Atlanta. So I had the cutest apartment in Atlanta. This was the first time I was living by myself completely because in other years, I was either living with a sibling. No, I was living with a sibling pretty much at any point. So this was my first time by myself, living by myself, doing everything by myself. And I loved it. But I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach as my lease was about to renew that one, it was time for me to leave. And I felt like it was time for me to leave my apartment, but I didn't really realize it was time for me to leave the country until my sister came back home from Colombia. And she said she absolutely loved it. And something just dropped into my spirit that it was time for me to leave. And I can make another video about trusting your gut and how trusting your gut can lead you into your purpose and your destiny. But specifically for me, I felt that it was time for me to shift. And in February, I celebrated my 30th birthday. And at that time, I had made the decision, hadn't shared it with anyone, that I was going to leave the country and I was going to become a full-time digital nomad. And so after that, it was just a lot of planning and a lot of research. And through my research, I found that Colombia was a perfect place for me to start my nomad journey because one, it's on Central Time and I run an agency, and to not get overwhelmed with the client work and schedules, I didn't want to be too far off of Eastern time zone. And so moving here has kept me on track. I don't have to deal with a lot of jet lag, which is amazing. And also it's beautiful here. I took Spanish in high school, but to be honest, honey, the Espanol, habla Espanol poquito, or is it pequeño? Poquito and pequeño be kicking my. But I really wanted to go somewhere where I could embrace the culture, where I could feel at home and peaceful where I could escape the rat race of the US and where I could still be in a good amount of distance as far as like my family's involved. Like I don't want to be too far from them in the case of an emergency, or just family time in general is important to me. But while I was doing my research, I was like, Colombia is my dream destination. And so I will say, right before I moved here, I was plagued with a lot of anxiety because there are so many things online about how dangerous it is here. And I had joined all the Facebook groups, child. And in all the Facebook groups every day, there was someone getting robbed, getting mugged, getting something happening, right? And I was very fearful to come here. And after a week of being here, I'm like, oh, wow. It's not that I'm scared for nothing. It's that there is danger everywhere in the world. When I lived in Brooklyn, New York, when I lived in Atlanta, when I lived in different cities, there was always, as we like to say, keep your head on a swivel. There were always dangers in every city that I was in. And so I think that most important thing that I've taken from my journey so far is that you just need to be cautious of where you're at, of course, but you should be cautious of where you're at, period. And so I would say that I don't feel any type of heightened danger here. I felt more danger living in Atlanta at night than I have here. But I will say the biggest challenge is just the language barrier. But I do think that using Google Translate and just being kind to the locals here and talking to Uber drivers has helped so much. So I can't imagine where I'll be in the next 60 days. I plan to start Spanish class, a Spanish school. So I'm really excited. But anyway, let's jump into why I decided to move and how it's been working from Colombia. So after I decided to move, I really got all my affairs in order. I put everything that I owned in storage, and the other half of the things, I just sold them, honestly, on Facebook Marketplace, or I ended up giving them away. I'm in such a season of releasing and feeling light, and also feeling like I don't want to have this burden of responsibility for things. Like the only thing that I still have is my car, and my friend's gracious enough to be holding it in a garage. But even that, before I left y'all, I wanted to sell my car. Like I didn't want to have anything tied to me. I'm just in this season of just like, what will be, what I have is what I have. Like with the 2 bags that I packed in my backpack, that's all that I want to have, like at all. And so after I packed everything up and put it into storage, I felt like so happy. And I didn't take a straight flight to Colombia. I had to take a flight to Miami because my younger sister would celebrate her 29th birthday. Shout out to Jasmine. So it was really this going away party in my mind, plus celebrating her birthday, and also this really beautiful moment of welcoming in this new season of my life where I'm going to be a digital nomad. And being a digital nomad has been a thought of mine, a desire of mine for years. When I was a flight attendant, I imagined I would feel more like a digital nomad, but I didn't. I felt more like a slave. No, I'm just kidding. But when I was a flight attendant, I thought that being a digital nomad and a flight attendant was going to be these parallel lives, and that wasn't what I experienced. And so I think I put the desire to be a digital nomad at the back of my mind. But now that I'm in my 5th year of business and I have a sustainable business and I have monthly recurring revenue, I have stability in the work that I do. I was just at a point like, what is truly keeping me here? And the answer is nada. No, the answer was nothing. And so I prayed. One of the prayers that I had when I was turning 30 in February, I had prayed for all of the things that I wanted to accomplish this year, but I had prayed for God to show me the world. I had prayed for my eyes to be open because I felt so deeply that I had been boxed in by this idea of, even the idea of what I've believed success was, or even the idea of what I believe my life should look like. I feel like the limited dreams that I'm dreaming of my own life, I needed to explore what more God had for me. And so when I get to that level where I feel like I'm reaching my peak I know that it's time for me to ask God to expose me to more. And so as I'm traveling, and I'm in Colombia now, in a few months I'll be in a different place, and I'll share with you all as I go through this journey. I'm just so excited to see the world. I'm so excited to see more. And if you're watching this and you're like, man, I've always wanted to do this, because I've been on the other side of these videos and I've been like, man, I've always wanted to do that. And there was this thought that I had when I turned 30, that if your reaction to someone else's life is that you always wanted to do it, yet you still have breath in your body, that means that it's still time for you to go and do that thing. And so like my only hope during this time away, and I don't know how long this is going to last, right? Like this could be for me to do for the next 3 months. This could be for me to do for the next 3 years. I don't know. I'm so open to finding out though. And so my hope is that the courage that I have to make the decisions in my life would fuel a fire in you so that you make the most audacious decision to never give up on any little or big dream that you have while you still have breath in your body. And so I'm just so happy to be here. It's a beautiful country. I'm going to be making more videos about my time here, my experience here, especially my experience as a Black woman here. But I just wanted to update you on the fact that I'm in Colombia now, and the idea of never returning back to the US, it sounds pretty freaking fantastic. Yeah. If you've been a follower of my channel, or if this is your first time tuning in with me, just know that whatever life you imagine for yourself is possible. If you've always wanted to do this, it's possible. And I truly pray that this video in some way encourages you to do the things that frighten you the most. Because a few weeks ago, I was stressed out of my mind, packing up my things, trying to imagine what my life would look like outside of Atlanta and outside of the US. And now I can't even imagine where it would have been had I not made the decision to come here. And so if I had any advice for anyone watching this, whether you're watching this in the middle of the night or this was a recommended video and you have no idea who I am, but you watched to the end of this video, just know this was meant for you to see, because it was meant for you to do something incredibly courageous and change your life in the process. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. And I'll be back on this channel with more videos about living my life as a digital nomad. Peace out, you guys.